Well, how y'all are this afternoon? Actually, it's evening time. I'm over here in my gun room, which my wife refers to as that junk hole down at the end of the hall. A lot of guys on YouTube have gotten and they do their pocket knife video. What kind of pocket knives they like? What have they got in their collection? So on and so forth. And I was sitting here not doing nothing. I'm like, let's do a pocket knife video. Talk about the pocket knives that I like. Well, so I got the box out, got to looking in it, and I realized that I probably have a sickness for certain things. One of the things I like is sometimes referred to as a scout knife. Okay, a utility knife, whatever you want to call it. This is one of those guys that's got a bottle opener, screwdriver, a can opener, and a leather punch, and a typical pocket knife blade. Now this particular one is made by Cutmaster in Utica, New York, and I don't know if you can see it or not, it's etched on there. It says U.S. government property. So I don't know, or property of U.S. government, yeah. So this is the TL14 knife. It would appear in standard GI toolkits, the TL14. That's this guy. This is, yeah. Now, another knife that used to be in GI toolkits and still is this guy. This is the TL29. Some of these are actually marked TL29. And it's got a conventional pocket knife blade. And it also has a screwdriver wire stripper. So it has a blunt end on it. It has a cutting edge, and then it has this little cutout area right there that is intended to be a wire stripping cutting edge. And then the screwdriver blade of it, which has a screwdriver tip on it, it has a liner lock, and it locks the screwdriver, so when you're using the screwdriver it doesn't close up on your hand, and a typical lanyard loop. Now, over the years, there's been a lot of them made, different variations on it. This one has a hawk bill, which is typically for cable stripping, a screwdriver blade with the wire stripper on it, okay, and then a conventional pocket knife blade. This one's made by Kinfolks, this one's made by Klein Tools, which is typically a tool company that mostly caters to linemen, heavy wire electricians, people like that. Here's another TL29. This one is made by Colonial. It's kind of a cheap version of it. It's the handles and pivot jaws are stamped metal and clipped on as opposed to being riveted in place. It's just kind of a chintzy version of it. Here's another one, yet another one. Yeah, this one's made by Cutmaster as well, TL29. Here's another one. It's getting monotonous, isn't it? This one's made by Camulus. This one actually is dated 1944 on the back of it. World War II. This one is a Klein tool, and basically a two-blade version, Klein tool. Every time I see one of these things for sale, I buy it. Here's another Camulus, and it's also dated US back here on the back, or marked US. Here is I think it's an Italian military pocket knife. It may be British. It's completely unmarked, has no markings on it whatsoever. It has a screwdriver up here on the end of it, a sheep split style blade, and then it has probably the most dangerous can opener design ever developed. It just, this is for opening ration cans or whatever, but this design of can opener is one of the more risky ones. You cut your arm off pretty easy with it. Just tell you the truth. And also some conventional pocket knives that I like. Now this one's this is a two-bladed hunter, it's called. This one's made by Camulus. It has a conventional hunting and skinning blade on it, and then it also has more of a paring, fish cleaning, small game cleaning type of knife blade. This one's Camulus, New York, USA. I think Camulus pocket knives now are made in China. It's got real bone handles on it. I've had this knife for many years. I think I got this when I was in my teens, and I've skinned a lot of deer with this thing. I've skinned a lot of groundhogs with it. I've skinned a lot of foxes with it. It's just a good all-around knife. What I like about a two-bladed knife is if you break one, you still got a blade. Okay. This is another one that I've had for many, many years. This is an old-timer, and I'm kind of partial to old-timers. This guy, that's a liner lock. It's got single blade, and it's got a lock that's basically the liner of the pocket knife handle. You push it over, and it closes up. I'm not sure where I got this knife from. This is another old-timer. It's kind of an economy version of the old-timer bear claw. It doesn't have all the brass back here on it, but it's basically the same knife as the old-timer or Uncle Henry bear claw. Okay, and it's a good solid lock blade knife. It's just been around the horn a couple of times. Show you one here. This one's made by Gerber, and it's a two-bladed hunter trapper style knife. My dad bought me this knife for my 18th birthday, and for some reason or another I decided to keep it, and I don't keep it nice. It's razor sharp. It was razor sharp when I got it. I may have touched the blade up a little bit somewhere along. I don't ever remember having used this knife. It was always kind of in my drawer, and I just kind of hung on to it. But this made by Gerber, USA, and it's the model 1184. Super knife. Probably never use it. Also like the little trapper style knives like these. Again, going back to two full-size blades. You break one, you've still got one. And I also have it in case yellow bone. And it's a case, a real case with a bunch of dots on it, but I don't know. I'm not really a knife collector per se, even though I've got a lot of pocket knives. But it's basic two-bladed trapper knife, and I like the two blades. Okay, they're hard to get open. You can't throw them open like a switchblade. I mean, they don't fly open like that. This is a Pakistani switchblade. Believe it or not, I found this knife I was sitting in traffic in Louisville waiting to get on the Kennedy and looked over there on the side of the road, and there this knife laid open. And I was parked, stationary, so I just throwed her up and parked and jumped out and got it. And it's an old cheap unmarked Pakistani switchblade, but there it is. It didn't have any blood on it or anything like that, so anything else in here? Oh, the little Spyderco leaf knife. I carried this around with me a lot back in the day. It's got an interesting little blade design to it, but I'll tell you something. As a defensive weapon, as a defensive backup weapon and knife, it wouldn't take very much pressure to, really create some damage with this little guy. It makes pretty good little defensive knife when it comes right down to it. If a slash is better than a stab, that's a pretty good knife. A little Spyderco leaf, it's called. It says so on it. The ATS 55. The only Spyderco knife I own. And, of course, I like the yellowbone pocket knives. So every time I see a yellowbone pocket knife for sale, I'll buy it. This is a little three-bladed Stockman from Case. I typically carry this around with me. I use this probably more than any other pocket knife I own. I carry this thing around in my pocket all the time. I carry a big clip lock blade all the time, but I carry this around my pocket as well. There's another interesting knife, believe it or not, that I found. This was laying on a boat ramp down in Pulaski County, and me and Pop were coming in from fishing, and I looked down when I got out of the boat, and there it lay. And it's a double thumb side, kind of a, come on, swing it out there, there you go. And it says stainless steel 440 on it, and that's all it says on it. And it's very well made, very solid knife. I've never seen another one like it. And I don't know, it's got thumb rest up here on it. Very heavy for the size. It's got a liner lock in it, which is right there like that, but doesn't have a pocket clip on it or anything. But it's, I don't know, it's got about a 3.5 inch blade on it. Overall length of the blade is in fact 3.5 inches. The cutting edge is in fact 3 inches. It's a good solid little knife. I've never seen another one like it, and it's not got a maker's mark or brand name on it. So, there it is. I pick up knives, and I've got a lot more than this. I pick up knives all the time. I wanted to use this as an example. I do World War II reenacting, and this is a cutlery set, okay? It has a spoon and a fork, okay? And then when you pull the knife blade, table knife blade open, you can push it apart, and there you've got an eating knife and your choice of fork or spoon. Now, I think I got this from one of the supply people, vendors that come to reenactments. And the guy had a lot of Civil War stuff and some Revolutionary War stuff too. And I think this set is actually designed to be Civil War, Rev War-y kind of thing. But I take this with me to reenactments yet. And, I've carved a lot of summer sausage with that knife, and I've eaten a lot of canned willy with that fork, but it's just a little set, you know, and it's worked well for me over the years. There we go. I like cold steel knives. Everybody knows I like cold steel knives. I carry the Finn Wolf all the time with me. This is one of the best cold steel knives I've ever seen. This is the Finn Bear. This is a lap hunter, you know, finish style knife. It's got a, I don't know what the handle is, but it's got grooves on it, and it's just real easy. My wife has commandeered this knife. It's a primary kitchen knife for her. That's where it stays most of the time, is in the kitchen. There's a little Cordura reinforced sheath like this. It's not much. I think these guys, when they were around all the time, I think they're like about like a Mora. They're about $10. You know. Where did cotton picking thing go? Here's Cold Steel's answer to a Mora. I'm not 100% sure what they call this knife. This is the Finn Hawk. This one's all dark green, as you can see. It has a pretty cool, I don't know what you call it, craton. It's about like a Pachmayr grip, maybe a little tougher. And it's basically the same design as the Finn Bear. It's basically a knife in competition with the Mora, and comes in about the same kind of sheath as the Mora. You know, and I think these guys are $12 at retail. Okay, so I picked up one a couple of weeks ago, and there it is. The Cold Steel Bushman. Where did that knife at? A Bushman like there somewhere. This is the regular Bushman. Okay. This is a Cold Steel Bushman. Now the Bushman it's got a hollow handle. It's basically formed like the shank of a shovel. Okay, so it started out being a flat piece of metal, and they mandreled this out to where I guess you can take this thing and make it into a spear or something of that nature. It's got a place in here where you can put a nail to hold it on the stick it's on. So you can make this into a spear or a pike fighting device, or, you know, something like that. Well, a couple of years ago, these have been around for years. A couple of years ago, they came out with the Folding Bushman. And this is the Folding Bushman. It's got a handle that's just formed sheet metal. It's got a thumb post on it, but you can't open this thing with your thumb. I mean, the lock mechanism is back here, and you got to have a lanyard on that thing to pull it back and get it to break. You know, and I pulled it up more than just a few times and got hide on my finger caught in here. But when it's locked, it's about as rigid of a lock blade as you could ever find. Got a 4.25 inch blade. Blade is 4.25 inches in length, and the cutting edge is 4 even. It's a very, very durable, you know, last ditch backup style knife, and it's got a pocket clip on it, but it's got a thumb post on it. But you ain't got a hope in Christmas of thumbing that thing open, you know. I've got one more here I'll show you. I bought this knife, God, I don't know where. I think it come from the Acorn Knife Shop in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And I remember buying them. I'm pretty sure it come from Acorn. This is a hen rooster. 10-inch stiletto. Yeah. Oh no, it's not 10. It's 7. It's a pretty big knife though. The overall length is 14 inches. You know, I'd love to have this thing with a switchblade. It is it says rust-free on it, so that's German for rust-free, which means stainless steel. And this is the KC45. And it is, in fact, a kissing crane, not hen rooster. But, you know, I've had this thing sharpened up, and it's sharp now, and I've used it a lot. You know, this is the kind of thing that you would have at a World War II reenactment to represent a knife that a soldier had brought from home. Okay? So, you know, pretty cool knife altogether. And this has gone to 21 minutes. I don't think YouTube will let me post a video that long. Just to tell you the truth, I don't think they'll let me post a video that long. I'll show you one more. This whole drawer over here is full of them. Ta-da! No. No, it's not what you think. This guy is a Edgemark Explorer 2. Now, this is the Gerber Mark II clone. Give you an idea how long clones last. I've had this knife for, oh, I don't know, 30 years, maybe 40. I've had this knife for a long time. A friend of mine on my block bought a Gerber, and I couldn't afford one because they were like $60 then. And $60 was a lot of money in the early 1970s, in late mid-1970s. It's nothing to sneeze at today. It's 2 rolls of dip. But, you know, in those days, it was an incredible amount of money to spend on a knife. These guys were like $20. So I bought one. And I've had it ever since. I've used this knife as a dive knife. Yeah, in the leather holster. I've used it as a dive knife. It's not much of a hunting knife. It's mostly made to stab somebody with. I don't stab many people, so you know, I don't get much of that kind of use out of it. But it's not much of a skinning knife. It's not much of a hunting knife. I have used it to clean stripers because of this serrated edge. You can get through the bones. But it's a pretty cool knife. I've hung on to it all these years. I've got the original sheath with it. And, you know, it's pretty cool. You know, styling around at a reenactment with this thing hanging on you. Well, that's about the size of it for my first installment on check out my knife collection. Like to take Sharify, commentate, and subscribe. Leave me an old $1 in the Patreon bucket if you want to, and if you don't want to, I'll keep right on making content for you. Join the NRA, buddy. You're really going to need them here pretty soon. All right, then. We'll see y'all.